And happy Sunday, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Woodbine Racing Live. My name is Elisa Blow, and I'll be joined shortly by Hall of Famer Randy Waples as we get set for a 10-pack here tonight, which will feature the pop-up final. That'll go as race number 5 on the program, and we have an open trot tonight, as usual on a Sunday. That'll go as race number 9 with just a small group of trotters, a 6-horse field to compete in that event this evening. Lots to talk about tonight, so let's bring Randy Waples into the mix because one of the big things we have to discuss is last night's card. Now, Friday, of course, was Friday the 13th, and just as, you know, Friday the 13th kind of rears its ugly head, we had no favorites win on the Friday card. But yesterday came back with some pretty logical winners, and then an upsetter in the open pace with Salzburg Victor going gate to wire.
He looked amazing when he stepped onto the track. And that's the whole thing with Victor. Like, when he starts to win, look out. Because usually they come in bunches. It's not just one and then he disappears for a while. Like, I've seen him on our circuit rack up, 5-6 wins in a row. Him and Austin Sorey were on an absolute tear a couple of winters ago, but he looked amazing last night. And, I think that we all kind of knew that this was getting closer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because he was being a little bit careful with them. And then last night when he stepped on the track and the lights hit him there, my goodness, it almost was like, I think I was a week too late.
You had the good word too, and you passed that along that Brett McDonald kind of assumed that he would race better last night, and so he did at 12-1 with a bit of an upset there in the Open. Of course, Team Cullen just continues their tear in 2026. They had 2 winners on the program. Pacino Hanover, who was in a logical spot to win, and this guy here, he is in a purple patch, as I like to say, courtesy of Robert Geller, with RB's Tenacious T, who just keeps on winning and keeps looking good, Randy.
So confident.
Yeah.
Hey, very, very confident.
Now, of course, the other story of the night was Bold Spirit. That's not how you spell finale. But that's okay. Randy, did you do the spell check on this one?
Don't be telling anybody.
He won the final with Bold Spirit at 10-1.
I had him.
Did you now?
That of all the 5 numbers, I had that one and nothing else.
You did, and that was kind of the case with a lot of other people because Uncle Shank kind of got himself into the mix as well. He was bet down as the favorite, finishing in second. Why wouldn't you in the 3rd place spot as we take a look back at the replay from last night's finale? So here's Salzburg Victor getting the win. We're going to go back to the open pace first and see Salzburg Victor. I always find, for me at least, some of the most exciting races I've seen from him, and when he's gonna win, is when he goes to the front and that tail goes straight up in the air.
He does, yeah. He tells. He's got his own little sign, but unfortunately it's basically about 30 seconds before he goes to the gate. So you got to be paying attention, have him on TV at the right time. But we knew, like I said, when he stepped onto the track, he just had a presence about him last night. You could tell it was a little bit different.
Well, the other thing last night too was that we had a much more milder evening, so we were able to actually see horses out on the track. They were out for 3, 4, 5 minutes warming up, which was great for the bettors because we get an opportunity to see the horses a little bit longer. And then, of course, here comes the jackpot high 5 with that spoiler, Bold Spirit, getting the win. Bill Davis Jr. doing the driving for Dwayne Marfisi, or Dewey as Randy likes to call him. There was a lot of money bet into that pool last night, Randy, and here's the interesting thing. Even though we put up the prices for a dollar payoff, which was $229,606 and change, we had no $1 winner. In fact, we had only 20-cent winners, and we had 8 of them in total. The 20-cent payoff was $45,921. One of those winners was here in Canada. The other 7 were down in the United States.
Yeah, well, the Americans, once again, it looks like they maybe got the better of us, but listen, there was one Canadian that was smart enough to get it.
Right.
And his name wasn't Randy.
No.
One thing I wanted to quickly say there, too, for people to watch that race over again. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this, but if you watch that replay again, Bold Spirit has got his head cocked to the outside. Billy's trying to get him up the inside of James, and he is a horse that likes to run out a little bit down the lane, and it was a lot of work to get him up there. And I think to myself, was James smart enough to move over and give him the inside, knowing that it was going to be a struggle for him to get
do it,
because he drives that horse.
Yeah.
Was that a?
Isn't that interesting thinking?
You know, is he that? Is it? Could he be that smart that he would know?
Well, he knows
that,
the
hey,
horse.
That's Bold Spirit on my back. He runs out. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm not going to let him come to the outside.
Yeah.
I'm going to make him go
Put
up
him in the weaker
inside.
spot. Yeah, it's very smart thinking. If that now, James could say, that's exactly what I was trying to do.
Yeah, well, I know his brother would definitely say that anyway. Not sure if James would, but if that was the case, well done, James McDonald.
Smart thinking. All right, let's get into the handicapping for the night tonight. As mentioned, 10 races in store for you this evening, including a pop-up final, which will go as race number 5, and then we have that open trot, which is a smaller group tonight of 6. Which will go in the 9th race. First race on the card is a claiming event. We'll go from price tags of, let's see here, 16 all the way down to $12,000 with a field of 9. And Always Be Sweetest currently is the favorite at 2-1. We have those equipment changes with the 2-horse forefather who goes from blind to open, and they'll add a Murphy on the left-hand side. He was claimed back on January the 4th. They've given him some time, Randy. They brought him back and qualified him. He did have a break, and then he had some broken equipment, so some bad luck there. But he's in a new barn now, and they're going to make some changes after qualifying him, and it wasn't exactly the world's greatest qualifier either. And then you get steel to aluminum on the hind end of the 1-horse Super Puncher.
Yeah, Super Puncher, interesting that Pat's going to put the aluminums on behind on this guy. He does show him making a break coming out of there as well. Maybe he just doesn't feel like he's getting a hold of the track. You can notice his last few quarters haven't been strong. So, maybe he thinks that he's not, maybe he's slipping when he's trying to dig in, pushing off from behind. So he's going to go to a set of aluminums. I'm not using him. No. Forefather. I am going to throw him in for the deuce, and the biggest reason there, not really as much the changes. He's had so many changes over his life, this horse.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to go with him. Number 1, Tyler Schlattman. A lot of guys don't know who he is. I do. He looked after Mick Wickett at one time for Casey. And this is a special kind of a guy. Like, he's one of those big guys, Elisa, that will let a horse have their way with him.
Right.
Like, like bossy horses that'll bump up against you and try to push you around and that. He'll let them do it.
Well, that's why he handles a lot of studs, probably.
That's right. And he was Casey's guy for that kind of stuff, because she knew he'd never, ever scold them or anything. He just let them away with like spoiled kids.
Yeah.
So I do think that he's going to have a real future as a trainer. Now, I went with Always Be Sweetest in here. I was talking to my buddy John Rollis. Everybody knows him out there. He was telling me about this 8-horse Braveview Bondi. Now, I do have him in for 3rd. He's coming back off a qualifier. Big things, bringing a lot of back class with it as well. 12 years old, over $500,000 made, and 30 lifetime wins, and a mark of 49-3. So there's a lot on the plate. Now, I'm going to go Always Be Sweetest. I've always said this since I started this show. I will support a horse moving up with great form as opposed to one moving down with suspect form. Braveview Bondi has the 1 qualifier. Maybe I'm going to get beat on him. I don't know. I like the qualifier, wasn't in love with it, but let's take a look at Always Be Sweetest here right now. Now, this is a horse to me, much like we've seen with RB's Tenacious T. He's been winning, and he's been getting more and more confident every time he wins. Normally, I don't show replays when a horse has just win 3 in a row, but sometimes it's justified. Here he comes now again. First over again, doing all the work, toughest trip, and watch him walk away from this field. And here's what I kind of said to John. I don't know how deep this horse is. Look at the size of him, Elise. He's a big, strong, young horse that's been raised. Look at Travis sitting on this guy. I know that this is an 8-claimer, and he's going to take a step up, but he's not taking a step up into the very best of the 12 to 16s. I think he's a horse that's been young, that's had a good they've done right by him. I think he's on great form right now, and I'm going to support him moving up. Braveview Bondi looks good in a year, but I think Always Be Sweetest is in amazingly good shape right now.
Well, and here's the other thing. If you're paying attention to the Ron McDonald barn, you know it's been hot
Very
lately.
hot.
Very, very good. Obviously, they won last night with Salzbrook Victor in the open pace, and they got a great shot to win here at this one. But this barn, every time at least that I've been working, I've seen them in the winner's circle. And, I put him up on top, too, because when you watch that replay again, it's just workman-like fashion. Like he knows his job, and he's doing it. A nice horse to have in the barn.
Yeah, and I mean, all the years that we've been around, there's been lots of times that horses have been picked out of 8, 10, 15
Sure.
claimers and made
skyrocket.
themselves right to the
Yeah,
to the top on both sides.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot on the thoroughbred end of things because sometimes we'll see, a barn that has maybe 40, 45 horses in it, and then someone will claim it that has maybe 5 or 6 horses in the barn, and then all of a sudden they go from being one of a many, and maybe at the bottom of the list over there, to being the superstar in another outfit, and they blossom and turn into allowance horses, and even stake winners too. So it's true. This is a smaller outfit, and they've had some tremendous success this season.
I agree, but I'm gonna, like I said, I think that he deserves the shot.
Yep. All right, let's go to race number 2. Second half of the early double. Fillies and mares in for claiming tags here. We might have some claiming tonight because there's a lot of horses in for price tags this evening. 8 pacers in race number 2, and Tells Bells is here after getting beat by My Only Sunshine, who was, as we just talked about, and was a sorry, we weren't talking about him. Was a very easy winner when he won back on, or when she won back on February the 8th. The interesting horse in here is the 7, Anna's Wish, who did not want to play last week at all. I don't really know what to do with her. There is obviously some confidence in the fact that James McDonald is going to come back and drive her again, but she didn't want to play last week.
No, there's some.
Was it the weather? What was it?
I just think there's some serious attitude going on with her right now. I think she's playing a little bit of a game, but I like the fact that James is sticking with her. He gets a lot of good drives from Fellows' barn. He's going to try to sit down and figure this one out as best he can, and I like that about James. So the 6 hole, no issue out of the gate. She did get beat, but good race. Then she gets down to the inside, has the 2 hole, just did not want to play whatsoever. I'm going to throw her in for second because at one time she was showing ability in against like horses that were in 25 and 30 claimers, and now she's down in a condition 8. If she's on her game, she should annihilate these, but she just isn't on her game. But I haven't lost complete faith yet. Tells Bells, I'm going to throw her in for third. Travis Cullen, whether he's driving for his mother or whether he's driving for anybody, he's driving. He's driving really, really good right now, Travis. So I'm going to throw him as a mix. But where I'm going to go is this one horse, Elise, Ace 44 Daisy, coming from the Kevin Enman barn. Now, first start Lasix with this one, and you know me, I'm a second start Lasix kind of guy. But I will go to one first time Lasix if A, they've been winning recently, which this one just win at Flamborough 2 starts ago, and B, if they've been getting really, really close to a victory.
Right.
Then I think that you can trick
As
them
opposed to
into
backing
it.
up.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Second start Lasix for the ones that are, that are getting beat 7, 8 lengths or something. The ones, her last start, she's 5th, beaten a length and a quarter. And she got held up on some horrible cover. It was first Philly Chip, came first over, and I'm telling you, a turtle could have passed her. She never went a step, and Ace 44 Daisy was stuck on her back. First start Lasix, picks up Louis Wah. I would like to see the end of this movie.
All right, we will turn the movie on in race number 2 as we go to race number 3, which is the pop-up consolation. This race for a purse of $12,000. You can scratch the 6 horse out of the race. This one's ineligible, so that gets us down to a field of 8. And it's a consolation, right? So you have the pop-up final, which will go as the 5th race on the program, and you just kind of figure out who you think is the best of the consolation horses. And this barn has been hot, and that's the Cullen outfit. It's hard to ignore. They've got Tell It Russ Tell It here, who will leave. Will move in a spot now, but comes in off of a 3rd place effort behind Seriously Hanover.
Where did you go?
I went to the Cullen horse.
He's a good one. I threw him in for second.
In fact, I went Cullen 1 too.
Oh.
I went 8-1.
Oh, nice. 8-1. Okay. I didn't use the 1. That's the interesting play, that one, because the only thing that kind of kept me away from him was the rail. I'm a little worried, suspect with him with the rail. Where does he get away? I like him better when they blast that guy. Tell It, Russ, Tell It. I got him in for second as well. Again, another horse that's got great form coming in from the Cullen barn. You pretty well have to use. But where I'm going to go is the 5 horse in here, Nighttime Dancer, 12-1 morning line, coming out of the Rod Boyd barn. I can tell you the two biggest reasons why is because number one, Rod Boyd, he started off a little bit kind of quiet this year, but at some point, this guy's he's gonna take off. This is a really, really smart horseman, you know, right down to the basics. So when he gets his hands on kind of problem horses, sometimes the numbers aren't going to be as good, but he can get those numbers up when the right horses are in his hands. So Nighttime Dancer, James McDonald, when he drives this horse, it's almost an automatic win. Every time James drives him. You go back, the last time that this horse had a win was April the 25th of last year, of 2025 of last year. Who was the driver? James McDonald. He drives him, and so many times he gets the job done with this guy. Even if the lines don't look like the way that we want them, James jumps up, and the horse races big for him. I'm going to go there. It's a pop-up series consolation. I like that Herbie Holland's going to go to Lasix with Buddyville. I find that interesting. Tell It, Russ, Tell It is going to be good. I got the 9-horse Brightside Maseo in for third, but Nighttime Dancer picking up McDonald at 12-1. I think that is a really, really sneaky play.
Okay, let's change those picks, guys, because I did notice when we put up, see, we've got Randy with the 2-horse up on top, Buddyville, but that's not how you want to play it. So you want to go 5.
Oh, I put them in wrong. Mine should be 5, 2, 8, 9.
5, 2, 8, 9.
No. I'm sorry. 5, 8, 9, 2. My mistake.
5, 8, 9, 2.
Boy,
you sure
I'm
about
bad
that?
to yeah, I wrote the wrong numbers down.
That's
See,
okay. It
the
happens.
ones up top says 2, 8, 9, 5. The one down below, 5, 8, 9, 2.
You were working with your eyes crossed again, weren't you?
Too many colors, Elisa.
There you go. Now, does that look right to you before we move on to the next race?
Let me see.
5, 8, 9, 2. Check the correct one.
We got the best broadcast crew in the world. I'll tell you that right now.
All
Thank
right.
you, guys.
Let's go to race number 4, fourth race, where we kick off the pick 6. Yes, this is a significant scratch of Bella Cavella, a judge's scratch from this race, which gets us down to a field of 8. It doesn't actually, bug me in the too much because I actually had the 7 up on top, Sunday Shoes, from the Osceola barn, who's taken that drop here. This is a pretty big drop in after competing against onwards to 12,000 and racing against some interesting horses like, Veracruz, Cover Band. Now here we are here. So this one is an interesting horse to me. Bella would have been a factor in the race, so she's out. Murner's horse made a break last start out, Southwind Domino, and they'll switch up and go to James here tonight. Is that where you went?
No. I actually, I was Bella
Sunday
Cavalla,
Shoes too.
but now I'm scratched down to Sunday Shoes. I don't necessarily see Sunday Shoes as a win candidate. Finishing second, no problem, but I've now been scratched onto Sunday Shoes. If his regular driver was driving him, I'd be all over him. But I like him a little bit better when Dougie or James is on this guy. So
and people should just be aware again too. Doug's on days.
Doug's on days. Yeah, Doug's in Florida. Hey, Doug. Sunday. He's logically the best horse. He probably should be the horse that wins. I just don't necessarily like the form that he's bringing. I do think that he can have a big race and finish second, and maybe he might even win because he should be the best horse in here, but I don't necessarily see him that way.
Yeah, so this race changes up significantly with the scratch of the 3 as we go to race number 5. 5th race is the pop-up series final. Now, this one for a purse of $20,000, so some good money being offered up for horses that are, regularly in for claiming tags that are a little, let's say $8,000 or so. And do you think that the mare can keep dominating the dojo here? She has been doing some great things against the boys, and that is Madam X, who's looking for now 4 wins in a row.
Girls rule.
Girls rule, boys drool.
That's right. You and I both know the answer to this question, don't you? Where did you go?
Of course I went.
That's
I have to go.
right.
Girl power. I have to go with her.
Okay,
on top.
so Madam X, I'm jumping on the girl ship because so now she's coming into this race with 3 straight pari-mutuel wins. She also won her qualifier for Maneri and James. James staying with this girl out of the 10 hole doesn't bother me in the least. Once again, I've told you before, I don't necessarily like to show replays when they're winning. You can see that on there, but there's a certain way that they're winning. So let's take a look at the replay and see if Madam X is going to make a series sweep, because she can do this big girl. Let's go, Madam X. So here we are again. James McDonald going to come first up, first over, doing the work out here with this girl. And it's just the way that she's doing it right now. We're looking at a horse that not only does she have a real good talent level, but her confidence is growing. And this guy, he's not exactly hurting her. with that. Look at the shoulders on James, straight back, and at no point has he ever asked her to do a thing. And, you know, he just keeps putting the bit back into her mouth, and she just gets braver and braver and braver. I know she's got the 10 hole out here. I just don't think it's going to make any difference. If anything, it might slightly inflate her price, and we got a sweep.
Well, you didn't use the 6, which I find interesting, Reign Supreme, because I really liked this horse last week. That first start back after the lengthy layoff with nothing to really look at for a handicapper, like we had no qualifier to look at. Horse hadn't raced since December 31st, and that was at Western Fair. Came here February 1st and was ready to roll with a good second place effort in behind Madam X, and then won back on February the 8th, like a good horse should. So, you know, I think Reign Supreme could be the spoiler if Madam X isn't on her game tonight.
Absolutely, he could. The reason that I didn't go to him is because he's been doing a lot of his racing in front or trying to get to the front. Pop-up series final. I'm not saying that it's going to be Darrell that makes a mistake, but there are going to be a lot of people that are going to try to put their horses into play, and Darrell's horse might be the horse that pays for it if he gets involved in, you know, a horse that is constantly being pestered on the front end. That's why I left him off. Could be a mistake on my part.
Well, we'll find out. I mean, could be an interesting little race. I mean, the mare does stand out in here, but there's 9 others that she's going to have to contend with for a purse of $20,000. Let's go to the 7th race. So 7th race, we'll kick off the final pick 4 on the evening. These are claiming horses in for tags of $24 down to $18,000, and guess who's back? Vertical Squirt. This little guy has been fun to watch here. He had a win right off of the hop on January the 18th, and then came back in a tough spot on the 31st of January, but was right back where he belonged on February the 8th, and was a winner that day with Louis Waugh driving. He's back in the bike tonight with Vertical Squirt, but I know that you've got some others in here that you're interested in. Seriously, Hanover is a horse who had a good race last time to win. Remember, the Beach is a horse from the Osceola barn that hasn't won yet this season, but has given us some good races. Exotic Sand is an interesting horse in here too, and you want to talk about Instantaneous.
Instantaneous, yes. In the words of the great Jason Portuondo, a former co-host of yours, different times, whatever. This could be a snake in the grass. This could be a snake in the grass. Okay, so let's take a look at Instantaneous, his last start. Billy has the 3-hole. He gets him into a decent spot, gets away 5th. But sometimes the problem with getting away where he gets away is you got a choice to make at some point. Do I come first over, or do I roll the dice and stay to the inside? Let's take a look at this. Billy decides he's staying to the inside. He's 4th on the rail right now. This is such a great replay to watch. I hope you guys are watching this one. So now he moves him out, gets him down here. Now this is where he starts to kind of chase him, and the horse starts to move forward. But look what happens. All of a sudden the brakes come on. He's got no place to go. He's got to bring him, look at this, to a dead stop. Now he moves him out to the outside, and he starts him going from a dead stop. And look at this guy pace again.
Took him a little bit of time to get his legs back underneath him.
Exactly, but I mean, to bring a big horse like that to a dead stop, that close to the wire, you know, I mean, that deep into the lane, 16th of a mile left to go, and to get him started back up and moving forward again, he's going to be my top pick in here.
Great replay, buddy. Very, very good. And you are the lone wolf in this one with the 7-horse in your ticket. I have the wrong picks up tonight now. For this one. Yeah, so it should be 9-3-7-5 for me. 9-3-7-5. No, not the 1-horse. Remember the Beach. So we'll change
Those
that
are
one
my
too.
numbers too, but mine are 7-3-5-9. So we got the same numbers, but just in a different area.
Look at mine, just changed.
Yeah. But that's you know, I mean, interesting replay.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very good one, Randy. I love it when you see these horses come to a walk and then have to get going again. It really is, you know.
Oh, and one other thing quickly I wanted to touch on too, the trainer of Instantaneous, Tony Montini.
Very good.
Remember Hal Mac Victor last night?
Yes, he was great last night.
Montini's barn is off and running this year.
All right, let's go to the 9th race. 9th races are on track. Feature for the night tonight, the Open Trot. Now, here's what's interesting. Last week, this Open Trot had 10 horses entered, but then we had 3 scratches because of the weather, and we got down to a 7-horse field. Now, it was freezing last Sunday. I believe it was like -27, some kind of a crazy cold. But this week, we're missing some horses. No Sid the Kid, who's been dominating in the Open in the month of January. No Usain Hanover tonight. But you do have the winner from last week's Open, and that's Safe Conduct. He had a great race back on February the 1st. We were just looking for him to have a positive experience after the incident that he was involved in on January the 11th. And he might have got banged up a little bit there, too, when he was loose on the racetrack. So he needed some time. But we wanted a positive experience. We got it. And then he comes back with a monster win back last week.
Yeah. I mean, this is so cool that McClure is actually going to be driving this one, because not only does Bobby fit him so well, he really does fit this horse, but Chris Jr. has always been a big fan of Bobby's from the time that Bobby has came to our circuit. Chris has always spoke very, very highly of McClure's driving, loves the way that he drives a horse. So it's very interesting that Bobby is getting this chance to drive the horse for, Chris Jr., the Hall of Famer that he is, Definitely one of my idols when I was growing up, Chris Jr. I can remember being a little boy watching him drive. And I thought to myself, boy, I hope I'm like Chris Jr. one day. Safe Conduct, I mean, there's no more to say. He's got really, really deadly speed if he's hidden and nothing is done with him. But what about last week? I mean, he fought his own bias. Big lead from the 6 hole, puts him into the 2 hole, and that big movement on the end of it as well. So Safe Conduct, obviously, the fact that he into his leaving ways and still has some go on the end of it, he's in great form. Short field, it's going to be interesting because we got some real closers if they want. If Safe Conduct wants to play closer, he can. Pemberton's known for his closing ability. Hasty Bid, another horse that has big closing. He can get into play, but if he isn't used hard, boy, oh boy, can he throw down big quarters on the end of it. And then in for second, I got the horse that I used up on top last week, our Peaky Blinders. Another horse that has big wheels on the end of it and a short field. And I think that Tyler Borth is kind of overdue for his Open Trot win. So that's my numbers: 1, 6, 3, and 4.
Well, we've got some inside information that's going to come courtesy of James McDonald as he talks about his drive here and a horse that he knows extremely well because it's his kid. And this is Hasty Bid.
Hasty Bid's a pretty special horse for us, my wife and I. We've had him since he was a baby, and he's done nothing but try his guts out for us every time we line him up behind the gate. So last week it was just extreme cold. It was going to flirt with -30, and we thought, doing all he's done for us, it was the least we could do, and not put him in any kind of harm to his lungs or anything like that in the bitter cold weather. So he was healthy and he seemed in great form, but we just wanted to err on the side of caution and do what's best for him. So hopefully he rewards us with many more good performances in the future. Off a week, I'm not worried about it. I actually trained him up today and he trained well. So that he is a horse that's usually good fresh. So I don't think that'll be an issue. It's just whether or not he's on his game. He was dynamite late in the year and early into this year, and he's just been a little stale his last couple. But hopefully I can work out a little better trip and kind of race him the way he likes to race, and hopefully that'll translate to a good performance.
One of my favorite things to hear from any horse person is we have to do what's right for the horse. Right, Randy? And that's exactly what they did for Hasty Bid.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know about the we part, but I thought it was a good decision on Paige's part that Paige told James what they were going to do with the horse. Paige said that James wasn't going to be allowed to race poor little Hasty in the cold. And Paige told James, that you got to go out into the cold and make some money, but Hasty's going to stay in the stall.
Yeah, and she probably stayed home and enjoyed the Super Bowl.
Probably did. Yeah, exactly. No, they did. It's nice to see, a young couple like that have done so well, and then they're doing so well by this horse too. Right. I mean, it's really nice. Hasty Bid is going to have himself one heck of a home for the rest of his life. That I can tell you. But, short field, which way did you end up going?
I put Safe Conduct back on top.
Yeah, I think it's the way to go.
I was really impressed last week.
I was
really
too.
impressed.
I
was
too.
expecting a good race, but I wasn't expecting what I saw. So I don't see any reason why he can't come right back. And you're right. I think Bob gets along really well with him.
I do too. And I got a feeling that Bob really, really would like to double up with this guy too,
Why
because
not?
I'm sure it's a big thrill to him to be driving for,
pot.
a childhood hero of his.
Yeah, that's a cool cool story.
Old Chris, yeah.
Old Chris Christoph.
Chris.
Old man
Old Chris,
Christoforou.
yeah, old Chris.
I'm not going to say anything because I want him to come and fill in a little bit while you're on vacay. Race number 10 is how we wrap things up. Hey, guess what? Guess how much money's in the jackpot high five carryover, Randy?
Let me guess. It's about the same amount as in my pocket.
Yep. So it starts again at 0 tonight. Race number 10. It's nominators 12,000 in their last 4 starts. And we have Distance Learning, who's here coming out of the Open. You have Tactical Strike, who had an interesting trip last start out. You got JG's Pal, who's looking for 3 wins in a row. And good old Ghostly Casper, who draws the outside post position here tonight.
Yeah, this is a really tough bunch, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not an easy one.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily all this.
Yeah, you can't even forget about dealing with Dewey.
That's what I'm saying.
Too.
Like,
yeah.
you could all this. You're gonna, one of them's gonna win, and it doesn't necessarily going to be the one that's the favorite. Right now, I like Distance Learning in here. I mean, dropping from the Open, but one of the big things that I like about him too is that Brady Gallia already won with him here on our circuit, and this is a nice horse. And I think Kyle Fellow's doing a good job with him, and it's nice to see Brady back into town to drive him. So that's the way I'm going to go. Distance Learning.
Yeah, I like him here too. But, Ghostly Casper last week, we thought it was his race to lose, and he ended up finishing second, but he's got to deal with that outside draw. So that's the 10 races that we have in store for you tonight. We've got some tickets to pass along your way as well. What did you send in, an early pick 5?
I sent in 2 pick 5s and a pick 6.
All right, well, let's take a look at your early pick 5 first.
Okay, so we're going to start this off 4 and 8, Always Be Sweetest, and the 8-horse Braveview Bondi. Then I'm alling race number 2, looking for a price. Race number 3, it's a single of Nighttime Dancer and James McDonald and Rod Boyd. And race number 4, it's going to be the 4-horse Kevin Anthony and the 7-horse Sunday Shoes. And in race number 5, I am singling again, and that is going to be Madam X.
All right, what one are we going to look at next, guys? I'm thinking maybe the late pick 5. Okay, let's go there. So let's see your late pick 5.
Okay, again, we got an all, and we got a couple of singles. So race 6, 3, and 4, I'm a runner, and our Aragonite are going to be my top picks. Race 7, singling on to Instantaneous. We showed you that replay. Race number 8 is an all for me. I think you can catch a price in here. Race number 9, I went 3 deep. Safe Conduct, I went with Hasty Bid, and I went with our Peaky Blinders. All horses that I think are going to have big wheels on the end of it. And in the 10th race, I singled Distance Learning. You could go all in there.
Yeah,
but
that's a tough one.
Cheap.
That is a tough one. I sent along a late pick 5 as well, and I did the same thing as you. I did single the one horse in the last race, even though that's a tough one. 6th race, I went 1, 2, 4, 3, 7, 9. That's Seriously Hanover, Instantaneous, Vertical Squirt. He's just good right now. And then 8th race, 1 and 5. 9th race, 1 and 3. I just put Mr. Bluebird to back me up just in case on Safe Conduct, just because that barn's been so live, and then I've keyed on to Distance Learning coming out of the Open in race number 10. Plays of the day to pass along your way, I would assume, are what we have next to show for you. We didn't even have time to look at them last night because we had such a jam-packed show, but what have you got tonight?
Okay, so, Bella Cavallo was one of them, but she is no longer. So my all-in is going to come along right in race 1. I'm going to go all-in on Always Be Sweetest. He's my best bet for the night. Worth a look, race 3, Nighttime Dancer, Waples Watch. I'm a runner, picking up a bridle change tonight and also a barn change for him. Beat the Fave is going to be Instantaneous. I do not see him going off as the favorite, but I could see him in the winner's circle.
You know what I was kind of shocked at today? We're already at the middle of February, and January seems so long, but we're already mid-February. I got Tell It, Rest, Tell It in the consolation. I got my pop-up queen, Madam X. Vertical Squirt, I think, is a repeat threat, and Distance Learning is my drop and pop coming out of the Open in race number 10. Okay, that's what we have for you tonight. Any other thoughts? You know what I do want to just mention? The weather is going to be gorgeous this week. Tuesday, I think we're looking at maybe 5-6 degrees, like people are going to be in their shorts sitting on patios, right?
Mm-hmm.
But tonight, hopefully, same thing as last night. We'll get a chance to see horses on the track a lot longer.
That would be, that would be a Christmas present, a late Christmas
helps.
present. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Really, really, it does. It does for sure. One other quick thing too, just big shout out to the Canadian men's hockey team,
Yeah, they were
Olympic
awesome.
hockey team. Not only did they win, but they also got into a fist fight at the Olympics. Way to go, Canada!
And they're the top seed as well because they just destroyed
Did
France
they ever?
today.
Oh,
Wow. Wow. Okay. Oh, and our first gold medal came today as well, too.
Yeah,
In moguls.
moguls, right?
Yeah,
yes,
yep. And our
yes.
Canadian pairs team is sitting in a good spot as well. Lots of good things to get
Go
excited
Canada.
about. Yes, go Canada, go, and go home, go Mohawk, go tonight as we have 10 races in store for you this evening.